This episode is brought to you by Sheeta and
Nikki
from Real Conversations with Sheeta and Nikki podcast. Creating quality episodes takes plenty of time, energy, and can be quite costly. If you have gained value in our podcast and would like to support us, please consider being a subscriber to our show.
By becoming a monthly subscriber, you will have access to all episodes, exclusive content, giveaways, and podcast merchandise. You will even have an opportunity to be shouted out on an upcoming episode. We have goals for our podcast, and to help us achieve those goals, sign up to be a monthly subscriber by clicking the link in our bio and click on the subscribe to our podcast link. Now let's get into today's episode.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shamaya Bird, and I'm the program manager for the Cancer Support Center's Kick It Cancer. And you are listening to Real Conversations with Sheeta and Nikki. And I'm today's featured guest. Now let's get into it.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of Real Conversations with
Sheeta
and Nikki. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have a special guest with us today to tell us about her journey as a breast cancer survivor and her breast cancer awareness program.
Ms. Shamaya Bird is the program manager of the Kick It Cancer program at the Cancer Support Center. This program is taking a new approach on spreading awareness and getting individuals involved in their own health. Their mission is to make a direct connection with residents and community leaders to provide access to care and ongoing support to anyone with cancer and promote early detection and prevention. Ms. Bird, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, we're excited to have you. We know that this month is Cancer Awareness Month. So we really wanted to do our part in spreading awareness about breast cancer and just cancer in general. And we thought that you would be a great fit for this show. So I'm glad that you're on today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now?
Yes, absolutely. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018 in July, and it kind of came about. I was doing just a regular physical checkup with my primary doctor, and I believe it was December of 2017. And when she felt it, that was the first time she ever really did an exam on me in that depth. But she was like, whoa, I feel something in your right that I don't feel in your left, but I don't want to alarm you. So we're just going to have you get an ultrasound. And so I got that done the top of the year 2018. And I was told that it was too small to tell and that it could be benign. And over the months, it grew bigger. It felt dense. It was hurting me. And so I have two grandmothers who are breast cancer survivors, both of my grandmothers, my paternal and my maternal. And they were instantly like, no, don't wait no more. Go get this looked at. And so in the summer of 2018, I went through the whole 9 yards, the biopsy, the mammogram, and sure enough, it was breast cancer. I honestly was mentally preparing myself for it during the biopsies and the mammograms. And so when my primary doctor called me in, I was kind of already expecting it, but it is something that, it's an out of body experience. A lot of survivors say that, and until you feel it, you don't know what they mean. So it was definitely unexpected, but expected at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. And how old were you when you found out?
I was 25, y'all. 25.
Yeah. That's so young. At 25, you just kind of think about just going life routinely and as you have, and then when something like that traumatic happens, it just changes your whole world around. So, yeah.
And that it did. It truly did. My whole entire physical, spiritual, mental has not been the same since 2018.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, just being proactive and, finding out about it early. The early detection is the key. So that's what a lot of people, I know, speaking for myself, it's really hard sometimes for me to even examine my breast, because whenever I feel my breast, then I guess they told me that I have cystic breasts. Have you heard of that before? So how can you tell somebody such as myself that have cystic breasts? How can you tell? Do you just, continue to just go to your doctor and just have them to try to, or,
Yeah, I think the self-breast examinations are definitely important. And it is critical, it's key to early detection and early prevention. But when you have a lot of cysts, because I believe my mom she has a lot of cysts in her breast too, and it's really dense. But staying connected to that's where that relationship with your primary, because even if you have a primary, right? Like I know in our community, African American community especially, there's not a lot of discussion and there's not a lot of relationship building with our primary doctors. And even if you have a primary doctor, a lot of women aren't comfortable with, what I mean, like sharing that type of information. So I think it plays both with the patient, with us, and with our doctors, and holding ourselves accountable to build that relationship, asking those questions just like you asked, how can I feel? Yeah. Like, in what areas should I be looking at particularly? And it's on your doctor to kind of know your body, to see where you could be feeling, to kind of pay attention to those marks. So definitely staying connected to your primary is key in that.
Yeah. I think that's important too, to make sure you have a relationship with your doctor. That way you feel comfortable enough to ask questions that may feel, that might be uncomfortable, but that you have to ask those questions.
Right.
So I think that is important, because even with, like, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she's getting older to where I still go with her to the doctor, but I put it on her to really ask questions, because she has to build that relationship with the doctor, so she feels comfortable with asking questions that she might not want to ask me, but she knows, she has to ask the doctor. Right. So I think it should start like at a younger age, to where teens are feeling comfortable with asking doctors questions or health professionals questions that they really have concerns about.
Absolutely.
I think that is important, to really bring it up, because it can eliminate a lot of issues if you just ask that question and then the doctor checks it out and be like, okay, it's nothing, or maybe you need to get, exam. So it all starts with just asking a question and just being comfortable to ask questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially since young women are getting diagnosed at a younger age. Yeah. Like, it's getting younger and younger. And even outside of breast cancer, cancer in general, you want to make sure you are partnering. I like to see it as a partnership with my primary, you know what I mean? Because we're partnering about my health. Like, this is my health. So whatever I should know, and vice versa. But you want to make sure you're doing that at a young age with any type of disease, because it's important that you know what's going on with your body.
Right. Like you said, it's a partnership. We both in this together.
So. Exactly. Listen, I have my team of doctors. We are like this to this day. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And you know what? Even thinking for myself, I've just changed and had a new doctor. And to be honest, they don't really examine your breast like that. And if they do, it seems as though it's just the women that doctors that will examine your breast. You really don't have, well, as far as my experience with men, they don't examine your breast anymore. So, and I think that's something too. Now that we're having this conversation, like you may have to ask for that breast exam, you know, because a lot of times now they're just like, oh, we're going to order some labs or we'll order you a mammogram. But, you know, everybody don't follow up on those mammograms and, oh, I'll get to it, or it get pushed to the wayside and you kind of forget about it, or you just like, oh, that's, you know, I'm too young for that. But
and we know mammograms can be intimidating, you know, like not everyone, a lot of women in general, not even just survivors, we hate getting those mammograms. You know what I mean? They're not a fun thing to do. So definitely the self-breast exams is a great first step to just be doing that on a consistent basis, because a lot of women don't like to get those mammograms and they push it off. But I think to get those self-breast exams and have someone physically touching you will kind of make you feel more compelled to get those mammograms.
Yeah. Exactly. And how often should we be examining our breast at home?
I do mine regardless, because I had got a double mastectomy and I still like feel around me just to make sure. But I would say at least on a quarterly basis, like every 3 months, if not every 3 months, at least very minimum twice a year. But just so that you have a peace of mind, every 3 months, I would say is a really good start.
Okay, that's good. And what was your recovery process like for that? You know, having that type of surgery?
Yeah, so it was honestly, my support system made things a lot easier for me. Physically, it was rough, but I say it took me about a good 2 months to get back 100%. I couldn't really do anything, which was good for me because I'm a person that likes to do everything. So it really, this journey as a whole has really sat me down. You know, I know a lot of people are talking about how the pandemic has really given us the opportunity to just sit with our loved ones, sit with ourselves. But I had that opportunity before the pandemic even became about. So patience is giving me a lot of patience. And so my recovery was physically wise. It was a long road. I couldn't drive. I couldn't lift. I needed assistance with getting out the bed. And it wasn't until about maybe 3 to 4 weeks where I slowly my mobility started to come back. So, but once I got over that hump, I was back in action.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're here to tell your story, to inspire other people, and making sure that they're doing their part too, to make sure that they're healthy and getting the right support and, you know, doctors.
Absolutely.
So would you mind telling us a little bit about your Kick It Cancer program that's going on?
Yes. So, well, I had a relationship with the Cancer Support Center before I even came into this role. Like I said, my paternal grandmother, she was diagnosed. I believe she had, I think it was stage 1. But she was diagnosed back in 2000 and 2008, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was living in Atlanta, and I couldn't really be here to support her like I wanted to. But when I moved back home, it was on. Like I was here supporting her in her annual walks, and so that's kind of how I met the center, because she she got connected to this support group for African Americans primarily, and the center basically hosted that support group.
Okay.
And so started building relationships with a lot of these people at the center way back when. And so I came into this particular position though with Kick It Cancer because I started out volunteer for the program, and my supervisor kind of just put it out there that this role was open. They wanted someone who had experience in social work, case management, and I filled out the position, and the rest was history. So, but Kick It Cancer in particular, it's an initiative. It came about from a study that was done from University of Chicago Medicine, Ingalls, and this study showed high mortality rates in 4 underserved communities, in particular in the south suburbs of Chicago. So those communities include Posen, Riverdale, Hazel Crest, and Burnham. And it showed that, and I don't know the logistics, I'm still kind of getting to that of how exactly this study was done, but it showed that African Americans and Hispanics are like the dominant demographics in these areas, and cancer, particularly breast and prostate cancer, was the most prevalent disease in these communities with these high mortality rates. So team at the Cancer Support Center, was really moved by these statistics and wanted to create something that they've never done before to kind of reach the people where they were. So instead of folks coming to going out to hospitals or clinics or to their primaries, we would be coming to the communities and meeting constituents or residents right where they are. So our goal of Kick It Cancer is to reduce those mortality rates by increasing the number of screenings. And the way that we do that is bring the screenings right inside their neighborhoods. So something that would look like a mobile mammogram unit, like a mobile bus. I know a few organizations that has done that in Chicago, but you never really heard that in the south suburbs.
Yeah, that's
true. And it's a lot of us in the south suburbs. It really is. So, and there's a lot of communities that are underserved still in the suburbs. So that don't really have resources as our neighbors, I guess I should say. So we are bringing mammogram unit, mobile mammograms and prostate screenings right inside of these communities. And that's the overall arching goal. And we hope that this will be an ongoing thing. So we're connecting to community leaders, to mayors of these communities. We definitely want to expand because you have communities like Dalton, Harvey, Chicago Heights, Fort Heights, all of those that still need to be reached as well. Yeah. So we want to definitely expand, and folks want to give and help us expand, but it's just a matter of getting this off the ground. So that's where we're at now, is really picking the momentum up and getting out there and familiarizing ourselves with community leaders, with community members, and just kind of going from there.
Yeah. So how often do you all go out into the community to provide the mammograms to people in the community?
So it really just started when I came about. Like it was kind of a lot of, this came about in 2019. That's when the study was done.
Okay.
Right before the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, of course, it put a damper on things and we couldn't really go out. The center couldn't really go out. So a lot of things transitioned to virtual, and they did like some virtual panel discussions around breast cancer and prostate. There was like some PSAs going around just about nutrition and wellness programs that the center does. But we're just now really getting in the community and still trying to kind of navigate that with COVID, because a lot of villages and community leaders are still iffy about, getting folks out with COVID.
Right.
So we're taking very strategic caution just around being inside the communities and still trying to navigate that if we have to go to virtual as well. So it's just now starting.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And do individuals just call a number to get their results, or do they have to come back somewhere? Or
so the way I envision it being set up, is that they will have the information of whatever provider is there giving the mammograms. I know a lot of barriers, which that's another piece to it, is just kind of talking one-on-one, just straight up with community members and asking them directly and making those direct connections. Like, what do you think the problem is? What are the barriers? Do you have anything particularly why you wouldn't get a mammogram, or your family member, your grandmother or mother? And so just kind of working it from there. But health insurance is a big thing with our communities, and not being insured or not really knowing the resources out there to be insured. And so we have partners that will, for example, that will give health insurance should you have a diagnosis, or even if you don't have a diagnosis, can still kind of hook you up to county care or something along that sort, just so that we can make sure you're getting that service.
Yeah.
And so those providers that will be providing the screenings will have that information to give to our participants. So there is like a direct connection there, and they're following up directly through those providers. I'm sort of the middleman, which is the second piece to Kick It Cancer. There's a case management piece where you won't just get screened, right? We're not just trying to get you out to get screened, but you'll have someone to walk you through this journey. And that's sort of like the latter part to my role, is making sure they have these resources for insurance, making sure they have support services, and anything else that they may need. Like from A to Z, we're walking you through this entire journey. So there'll definitely be a direct connection there.
Yeah, I think that's great that they have someone to really provide support, like you said, from the beginning all the way through. So I think that's great. So you always have that support system, because some people don't have a support system at home.
Exactly.
So if they go to the cancer support system, whatever their needs are, they know that they'll be able to have someone there to either help find resources for you, or emotional support, or even other people that's going through the same thing they're going through. They have someone else to talk to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's so important, right? Because sometimes for a lot of women, it's not even a matter of not having the support, but you have women who go to school full time, have full-time jobs, have children, and it's really, really limited. You know what I mean? So even stepping in and like being that crutch for that to kind of fill in those gaps, I think is important, because a lot of women don't have the time. And so just asking those questions, how can we step in, you know what I mean, to create that room so that you are able to receive these services.
Yeah.
That's great. And you know what I really love when I went on your website? Like, it's not just limited to, breast cancer. What we're talking about is lung cancer. You all have the self-care, the nutrition pieces. I was like, they have everything.
Right? Everything, right?
Everything. Yes. So that's great. And I see that they're virtual now. Eventually, will it be like when the pandemic lightens up that they'll be meeting in person, or is it going to kind of stay virtual at this point?
Yeah, so some of our programming is hybrid, where it's in person and virtual. 1 week is virtual, another week it may be in person. It really just depends on our participants' comfortability, because we have like a big room where social distancing precautions are definitely put in place and people could still be comfortable. So some of it is hybrid, but at some point we do want to go back to fully in person. I know for a lot of organizations, it's been really hard to navigate this virtual world. We're one of them, where we're still, a lot of it is trial and error and just figuring out, how we can get the highest turnout and still keep folks engaged. But we do want to go back in person. I know I do. I it's nothing like human touch, and the pandemic has definitely taught me that. So yeah.
So I did notice too on the website that the Cancer Center does have a lot of programs for the participants there. So do you mind sharing with us some of the programs that are offered there at the Cancer Support Center?
Absolutely. So we have 5-point model. We have body image, which for breast cancer, and particularly a lot of women lose hair going through chemotherapy. And so we get a lot of donations for wigs and prostheses, like breasts, like the bra fittings type things. Should you have lumpectomy or even a mastectomy and you kind of need something, because a lot of women return to work after a short amount of time frame, and so those prostheses kind of just give you that support when you're in public areas. And so we have a lot of those. And so that's our body imaging. We're just giving support to still make you feel womanly, right? Like still make you feel good inside, regardless of the things that's changing about you physically. So we also have wellness and nutrition. So our programming around that, I think right now is still virtual, but our nutritionist coach, her name is Chris. She does like little cooking demos, which basically is she's cooking online, with I think for the most part is at her house in the comfort of her home, and she gives you these diets to kind of navigate as you going through your journey. And again, that's for any cancer, not just breast, but that's any cancer. And so a lot of our participants like those because she's pretty hands-on. So, and then she also kind of give you some tips if you choose to go the fast food route and just like, kind of portioning that out. So and I like that because, I definitely going through my journey, I didn't eat too many home cooked meals. So she kind of gives you the best of both worlds. And so, again, I think that's still virtual right now. We also have the clinician part to it, which is around therapy. So we have a few clinical therapists that give services to our participants, and just literally again from A to Z. So from the time you diagnose, they're just kind of giving you that counseling, that support, that emotional support through counseling there. And I think some of our participants may even, once you kind of are declared in the remission stage, I think you can still choose to have that service if you want. And I'll definitely highlight it at this moment, all of this is free. It's free. A lot of people don't, think that we're, have the expectation they're going to be charged for services, but this is all free. The cancer support has been around for a very long time, and we have some really good relationships with a lot of our donors. So participants don't, all you have to do is bring you. That's it. Just bring you. And we'll go from there. So yeah, we have the wellness and nutrition, the clinician. We do have like art therapy, which that's hybrid, that's in person and virtual. We have chair yoga. We have some volunteers to come out and do like the sound baths, which is very relaxing.
Yes, I love that.
And pretty much all of these programming is on a weekly basis. So, and all you have to do is kind of fill out a registration form and just kind of stay up to date, because I think we register, unless someone who goes quite often, but we do registration, I believe, on a weekly basis. So that's it.
Yeah. That's great.
And where are the programs located? Like the yoga, where are those programs located?
So we have 2 locations. They're located at our home locations. Homewood is one of them, and that's, I believe, the address 2020 AM Road. So that's in Homewood, downtown Homewood.
Okay.
And we have another location in Mokina.
Okay.
I don't know that address by heart,
Okay.
but that's on LaGrange. So that's on the main street of LaGrange.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I love that the services are free. Like you said, all you have to do is just bring yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do worry about finances. So the fact that they can just come there and not have to worry about that, that's a big weight off their shoulder, because they know they can still get committed professionals to help them and not worry about getting a huge fee at the end of the day.
Exactly. And that's what I love about the center. Again, a lot of people don't know that, and they just sort of already have that pre-notion, like that perception, oh, somebody's going to charge me, but we don't charge. And we try to keep our participants as engaged as possible. We also, kind of leave that space, because it takes time for some people to get engaged. When you first hear the news, again, your body just kind of goes into shock, and it takes some time to kind of just accept, like, okay, I'm really going through this. And although these services are here, I don't want to be the one to go through it. And so we kind of leave that space in that room too. But yeah, we got a lot going on here. That's
a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, I love it. Can you talk a little bit about the Village Door Consignment Shop?
The Village Door Consignment Shop, I think that is something we're partnering with Homewood Village. I'm not for certain if it's around our Pinkaboo event we have going up. So I don't have too much knowledge in that area. But I believe it's something we partner with the village on, more so around when we do our annual walks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what age do you all accept people into the Cancer Support Center?
Not at all. Look, we even have, because I'll stress this too, So we have a support group, I should say. I'm not sure if it's been active over the past year, but we have some for loved ones too. So, if you're a caregiver, and you need that support, especially if you're a caregiver and it's just you and the patient, like inside of the home, just the two of you all, we have that support for caregivers as well. So we even have something for kids, like we have kid camp during the summer to get kids engaged. So there is no age at all. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think when I was diagnosed, as of that time, I was the youngest that the center may have supported as far as being diagnosed goes. But it's any age range. It's all age ranges.
That's good to know. And then, are there a lot of male participants that's there? Because I know when we talk about breast cancer, a lot of times we just think of women, but I know men as well can get breast cancer. So is it a comfortable environment for men and women that?
Yes. We make both locations like sort of a universal where it's open to everyone. We do get a lot of we have a strong women presence. And we do have a male on our team. So he's very relatable and give information and facilitate groups around prostate cancer. But it's a male presence. It's not as strong. I would say honestly, the male presence may be more around the caregivers and the loved ones versus like the participants of diagnosed. So it's not as strong, but it's definitely there.
And what are some upcoming events that's going on? I know you mentioned the Peekaboo walk. So when is that coming up? And then is there any other events that's coming up that people can join or bring awareness to?
Absolutely. So we have the Peekaboo. Actually, before that, let me go ahead and promote Kick It Cancer first. So Kick It Cancer will be doing a series of health fairs for this month. These health fairs are sort of like a segue into the screenings. We won't be doing the screenings just yet. But it's kind of our way to introduce ourselves to the community, and vice versa, likewise, and just sort of start building connections that way, so that when we circle back around and actually do the screenings, we could already be familiar faces. Like folks would already know us, and we'll already have those relationships underway. So the health fairs, we will have one October 16th. That will be for our Hazel Crest community. The location is not confirmed just yet because I just had something come up today for that, but it will definitely be confirmed by the end of the week. So that'll be in Hazel Crest, and it'll be in that area. We will also have a health fair in Posen, and that will be October 23rd. And so Posen will be at a community center in Posen. I think the address for that is 14408 South Campbell Avenue. And that's at the community center. That's October 23rd. And then our final one will be in Riverdale. Location is not confirmed for that either. More than likely, it's going to be at a community center because I think with Riverdale in particular, it may be best to go through the school district and kind of get them aboard because they can reach a whole lot more people than the village, I feel like. So, we'll have one in Riverdale October 30th. The time frame for all three will be 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll have, I don't believe there'll be any vendors because don't really want to promote it in that way, but we'll definitely have physicians there to kind of give self-breast exams, those self-breasts we were talking about, to kind of demonstrate how to do those.
Yeah.
And we'll have physicians there to give lectures about just general information. I think starting from the ground up and coming into it, not assuming that everyone even knows what prostate is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or knows what breast cancer, like just giving general information about it, and early detection, early prevention, because that's the theme: early detection, early prevention, and just ways how we can really expand that. So October 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th.
Yeah.
That's Kicking Cancer.
Yeah.
Our Pinkaboo, that's our annual walk. I'm really looking forward to this event because it's going to be bigger than our usual walks. We really kind of engage the community and just like our local businesses around us to get them involved, and we're painting the town pink. And so we're gonna kind of merge it with like some Halloween themed, bring out your costumes, your best costumes. And we're gonna have quite a few more vendors than we typically do. There'll be a special singer guest.
Oh, wow.
So it's gonna be a lot going on this year. I think the turnout is gonna be amazing. We definitely will have more participants, I believe, involved than usually. And that's gonna be October 17th. And that'll be at the Homewood location at 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Nice.
And what time does it end? Like, it starts at 9:30?
Usually it ends, there's no like definite end time, because sometimes so the program usually starts around 9:30 and they have like a ceremony type of thing. The support group that I'm a part of, sisters, are the honoree members that they're going to honor. And so they'll have a ceremony for that, and then kickoff is usually around, I want to say like 10 or so, maybe 10, a little after 10. And after folks get done walking, some people usually kind of like hang around, network, talk. But the actual program will be before kickoff. And so I would say maybe 12:30. Usually when people kind of like scatter out. So yeah.
Okay. And how would people sign up to the Pinkaboo event and the Kicking Cancer Health Fair? How would they sign up for that?
Yes. So registration is strongly encouraged. And that's on our website. That's at www.cancersupportcenter.org. And it's like right there. If you go to the programming section or events, it'll take you directly to the Pinkaboo for you to register. And you get a t-shirt when you register as well for the walk. Or you can even, a lot of folks register at the event. So if you don't have access to the internet or something of that sort, you can definitely register the day of as well. So that's for Pinkaboo. It's pretty much the same thing with our Kicking Cancer health fairs. We have a registration form on the website that'll take you directly to the form. Registration is encouraged, but again, if you don't register, we won't turn you away. You can pretty much just give us your information when you come to the fair.
Okay, great. And then what are some ways people can volunteer or donate their time, not just for the month of October, but throughout the year?
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that too, because that's important. We don't need help just in October, year round for sure. But there's a link on our website as well for volunteer opportunities. I know with Kiki Cancer in particularly, I wanted to do some community I will be for sure this weekend, but there will be future opportunities for community canvassing. We'll be going door to door, kind of talking to people one-on-one like that, giving out like little palm cards and postcards with all of Kiki Cancer's information, as well as the center and just the services we offer. But there's a direct link on our website to volunteer. And I think you can pretty much specify, if you kind of want to be a volunteer to do anything, or if you want to be for Kiki Cancer, or, if there's anything specific you may want to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Shamaya, do you want to just let our listeners know where they can contact you, or tell us the website for the Cancer Support System if they wanted to volunteer or sign up to any of the programs you got going on? Did you want to just let the listeners know?
Yeah, so our website is www.cancersupportcenter.org, and there's a link to volunteer, or you can find, even if you just want to kind of browse our programs and services, all of that is on our website. So www.cancersupportcenter.org. Kiki Cancer it is embedded inside of our website. So if you go to programs we offer, you'll find Kiki Cancer, and that'll kind of redirect you to everything Kiki Cancer. And you can sort of volunteer through that page as well. To reach me, I would say I like to talk on the phone, y'all. So this virtual world has been tough. Let me just tell you, it has been tough for me. I'm a hands-on type of woman, so phone for me, especially if you want to volunteer. I love volunteers, and I love just kind of giving back in that way, and connecting with folks through the phone. So you can reach me on my cell phone, or my office phone. So my office phone is 708-798-9171, and I'm at extension 220. Or you can reach me by email if you prefer email. My email is sbyrd, that's SBYRD, at cancersupportcenter.org.
Right. And also, are there any social media handles?
Yes. How could I forget about our social medias? So me just coming aboard, I'm still gauging our social media world. At some point, I'm going to make a separate Instagram and Facebook for Kiki Cancer, but right now it's just the Cancer Support Center. And we have an Instagram, and we have a Facebook and a YouTube as well. So a lot of our videos we'll be doing for Kiki Cancer will be on our YouTube too. The handle for all of those social medias is the Cancer Support Center.
Okay.
Capital T, and then everything else lowercase. The Cancer Support Center.
Okay. Cool.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. This means so much, and I'm just glad to be here and spread the word.
We want to thank our guest today, Ms. Shamaya Byrd from Kiki Cancer. Since this month is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, usually we leave off with a quote for our takeaway. But I thought it would be fitting for us to list some breast cancer survivors, some of these people that you may know. The first one is Robin Roberts. She's a news correspondent for ABC. Melissa Etheridge, she's a singer. Christina Applegate, who is an actress. And lastly, Richard Roundtree, who is an actor. He has suffered breast cancer. And I think it's important that our listeners know that breast cancer not only affects women, but it can also affect men as well. So it is important that men do get their checkups just to make sure that everything is in check.
Yes. So we just want to thank all of our listeners once again. We truly appreciate you and all of your support. So the small business that we will be shouting out today is Michelle's Cups and Stuff. Her IG Instagram is Michelle Cups and Stuff. So follow her on Instagram. She makes customized t-shirts, cups, keychains, and much more. So check her out on Instagram if you are ever interested in getting anything custom made. She is the right one for you. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Real Conversations with Sheeta and Nikki podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel. Also, we were recently featured in the South Suburban News article, so make sure to go on mytaylormedia.com to read the full article. Also, when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get access to podcast episodes 2 days sooner than on our podcast platform. You will also have the opportunity to view bonus content and videos. Also, follow us on TikTok, y'all, at Sheeta and Nikki, and click the link in our bio for your happiness journal and Tropical Living products. And if you want to be featured on our upcoming episode, please email us or contact us on Instagram at realconversations21 or email us at realconversations21@gmail.com. So we want to thank y'all once again for tuning in to another episode of Real Conversations with Sheeta and Nikki.
Hi everyone, this is Nikki
And Sheeta
from Real Conversations with Sheeta and Nikki. I wanted to talk with you about the importance of having a morning routine. Did you know, according to a poll conducted by a website named The Sleep Judge, the poll consisted of more than 1,000 participants. Data found that individuals who stuck to a morning routine earn more than a whopping $12,000 more per year than those who have a casual approach to the morning.
Having a morning routine has shown to increase energy and productivity, as well as having better focus and improved happiness. Having a morning routine is not about perfection, but about consistency. There will be days when your morning routine will be thrown off or simply can't be completed that day, and that's okay. That's why we suggest habit nest journals.
Habit nest journals take you day by day with numbered pages and words of encouragement and tips for each day. Habit nest journals help you set a morning routine that's customizable for each individual's personal needs. Please click the link in our bio for your habit nest journal today.